not worth it.
We're doing North Carolina seafood.
Today on Worth It, we're going to be trying 3 different North Carolinian seafood dishes at 3 drastically different price points to find out which one is the most worth it at its price.
That's right, we're here in North Carolina. We're gonna be trying a wide array of seafood. It's a broad category, but we're gonna get to try a lot of different things. For our first stop, we're heading over to Durham.
That's right, we're going to see Ricky over at Saltbox Seafood Joint to try his smothered oysters and grits.
I've never had real grits before. You turned my sea warmer into high, didn't you?
Gotcha.
Trying to smother my grits. What kind of restaurant is this? What sort of cuisine do you serve?
I serve North Carolina seafood that's caught by North Carolina fisher folks. I grew up eating fried seafood. That's sort of the inspiration. And stylistically, what I do is fairly simple, things that people can identify with. As a chef, I sort of put a curated, crafted spin on it.
For a complete seafood novice, what would you point out about North Carolina seafood?
I want everybody to know is seasonality. I don't think a lot of people know that seafood has a season just like anything else. Like you go to the farmer's market, summertime, tomatoes and corn. So same thing with seafood. Wintertime, shellfish, oysters. A lot of times we're culturally conditioned to go to a seafood restaurant and expect what I know that I like. But if someone is truly living and breathing this idea of sustainable seafood and sourcing locally, then sometimes your favorite won't be there based on the seasons. So that's what I would want to share with a novice.
So I think we're starting with the smothered oysters?
Yeah, smothered oyster dish is sort of like, if one thinks about etouffee, to smother, to cook something in a gravy or a sauce. So basically I'm making a brown gravy, cooking that flour into this sort of a peanut butter color or get a nutty aroma. Onions, green peppers, celery, and green onions. And then I'm gonna add oyster liquor and a little bit of fish stock and kind of create sort of a gravy. For me, I gotta make sure that gravy is highly seasoned because I'm just gonna float the oysters inside. And then the grits, really straightforward, local grits. Started off with intensely flavored cream milk mixture with garlic and oyster liquor and thyme and bay leaves to make sure it's seasoned. Add the grits in, stir it till it's nice and creamy. Finish with butter. Salt and pepper, maybe a little cayenne, done, okay?
You said you would float the oyster into the gravy. What does that mean? I don't understand that.
Okay, gotcha. So float means not to just drop them in there, right? So you gently put something in, you know, I mean, they're delicate, right? And they can easily be overcooked. That intentional movement makes you think about, okay, I gotta make sure that these don't get so chewy, right? Gotcha. So I float them in, it's a gentle movement, as opposed to boop, drop them in. I'm glad you asked that question.
Nah, it's the first time I've heard somebody say float in terms of cooking, so.
Right.
Oh.
Well, and also we're talking about seafood, right? So there's the proper terminology, right? To float something, maybe, you know what I mean?
Cheers, Steven.
Cheers.
I got the good tea.
Ooh.
What is that there?
The lemon
punch.
Oh,
wow. Smothered oysters and grits.
See, I wasn't sure what to expect.
Me neither, but I am very excited because it resembles one of my favorite things.
Which is?
Mashed potatoes and gravy. All right, let's get started.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Okay, unexpected.
Wow.
Okay, I like this already. You have grits, which is like your base. You need the base. You need like the boring thing. And then you got the oyster, the crown jewel.
Yeah, kind of like how you need both you and me.
That's right.
In this show.
Glad we're in agreement.
I actually really like the texture of grits.
You want that bite. Can we talk about the float, the oyster float?
Yes, I love an untypical description for how to cook something. Float, it's like, of course.
Well, you can taste the like relaxed nature of the oyster.
What is Adam doing?
I don't know where he's going.
Oh, Adam, please.
Oh my God. Next dish is going to be the croaker. The technique we're going to do is going to be fried hard. Now Let me explain that. Fried hard is my definition. You fry something to a point where it has additional texture, not overdone, not dried out, but crunchy. For me, the joy in eating these small panfish is to cook it to a point where it's nice and crunchy, and so the dorsal fins become like potato chip-like.
Oh yeah, nice job. Yeah, dude. Something about eating a fish whole, it's one of the most satisfying ways to eat any dish.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat this fin, actually.
Yeah, fried hard.
Fried hard. Wow. See, I've never eaten fin. What am I doing here? That was good.
Have you eaten fin on this show?
I don't think so.
Even though the outside is fried hard, the inside is so soft and tender.
It's ridiculous.
All right, Stephen, for our next stop, we're going to Wilmington to a restaurant called Seabird to chat with chefs Dean and Mario. But first, we're gonna go see where Seabird gets their oysters, which are called Seabirdies. We're gonna go to Holdfast Oyster Company, which is the oyster farm that grows the Seabirdies. And we're gonna chat with owner Matt about how he specially developed these oysters exclusive to Seabird. Go out on his boat, see how they're harvested, or maybe try a couple. Do you get seasick?
Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Can I hold on to this thing?
Yep, yeah, it's perfect.
How many days a week do you go out?
As many as the weather lets me.
Oh yeah?
I aim for 5, but I really try and go out as early as possible.
Wait, what is this the Atlantic?
Yep, this is the New River, and the Atlantic Ocean is due east.
Okay, gotcha.
That way. This is the Seabirdie farm. And then I have a crane, hook it up to the cage, and each hook part of the cage and
Yank it up?
yank it up, yeah, on the very bottom. Hook that up and let the crane do the rest of the work. So you just pull a bag out. Give her a little dunk.
How do the oysters get in the cage?
I put them there. So I get the oysters when they're about 2 millimeters, and I grow them until they're about, say around 8 millimeters, and then put them out in bags. And the bags I have are various sizes. These holes are 14 mil, so as the oysters grow, they move into different bags. They graduate.
Look at that.
Sea birdies. You ready to shuck?
Yeah.
Your tools, gentlemen. It's all about the angle. You want about a 45-degree angle. You kind of rock it back and forth and get it set in there. And then once you have it open like that, you want to take the knife and go along the top and cut the adductor muscle.
Oh, okay.
It's a muscle that keeps it closed.
Cheers.
Cheers. Wow, that's really good.
Oh, yeah.
And these guys?
Toss them overboard. They'll start the next generation of oysters. You can eat as many as you want.
What is that?
You got a pea crab.
There's a tiny crab in your oyster.
So it's eating the oyster too?
Well, it eats the same food as the oyster does, so they kind of hides in there.
So how did the Seabirdie oyster come to be?
It's all about location with oysters. Like, you know, the term terroir, how a wine is defined by where it's grown. Same with oysters, they have their own terroir. This farm where I grow the Seabirdies, it took me about 1.5 years to find this lease because I knew the exact salinity level I wanted to grow them at, right in the middle range as far as saltiness goes.
Yeah. So you're saying the water over there is a different saltiness?
Not quite that close, but yeah, upriver or downriver a little bit. It can change pretty quickly.
And is that because this body of water that we're in right now, it runs into the Atlantic, right? So it's
It
like
does,
mixing with salt water essentially.
Yep.
Is that right?
Exactly.
Knock that back. Oh, yeah.
All right, Stephen, we're now on our way to chat with Chef Dean and Mario at Seabird about those delicious oysters, as well as their swordfish schnitzel and Eastern Chiappino.
Let's go.
We really are about what the farmers bring us.
You tend to cook a little differently when you know the people that are bringing you the ingredients, and you kind of know personalities and stories behind the ingredients. It makes the stakes a little bit higher. You know, we didn't really know exactly what Seabird was going to be until we found the space. I feel like it's really difficult to force a concept into a space. My wife Lydia and I in 2019 began working on Seabird. Once we got the space, we knew we wanted it to be heavy seafood focus, be a place where you could eat oysters in abundance. Of course, I was in contact with Matt a lot. He was really wanting people to be able to enjoy farmed oysters at a lower price point. He was really excited about doing an oyster happy hour, basically saying, I will sell you oysters at whatever cost you need to pay for them so that you can sell them for $1 a piece. And so Mondays we do from 5 to 6, we do $1 happy hour oysters, usually with Seabirdies, and that's just at the bar area only.
Cheers, Steven.
Cheers.
Wow. So I have the Seabird Martini, olive oil washed gin, and a phytoplankton brine.
Oh.
Yeah, this is a tremendous martini. It's like the right side of savory.
We're off to a good start here. I'm gonna say it before you say it, because I know you're gonna say it. The plateware.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah.
plateware. Earlier they brought out a plate of 4, and I was like, oh, they have a specific plate for 4 oysters.
Yeah.
And then we were like, no, we want 6. And they had a new plate.
For 6
for
oysters.
6 oysters.
Yeah, it's like the most beautiful egg carton you've ever seen. All right, so what are you gonna garnish yours with?
Oh.
I gotta go mignonette. It has a splash of sparkling wine in it, which is
Let's do
really
it.
cool.
That's really good. That is a totally different flavor.
All right, how about only lemon?
Great. Ooh,
Oh my God,
good
look
squeeze.
at the color of the juice. It's like,
Oh, it's the winner.
yeah, that might be the best one.
This is a top 3 oyster for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Mondays, these are $1 each during happy hour. But the oysters are not the main event.
The whole reason there is a swordfish schnitzel on the menu is because I wanted spätzle on a plate on an entree. Growing up, I made a lot of spätzle with my mom, and so it kind of started with that.
And what is spätzle?
So spätzle it's a German style, like rustic pasta. The way my mom did it was much bigger chunks of pasta. We would just toss in a little butter and she would put poppy seeds on it and then we'd eat it just like that. What we're doing here is a little bit different because we're doing smaller. We're chilling it down and then searing it in a pan to get a little bit of color and finish it with a little butter. And so from that, take whatever vegetables are in season. Right now we've got bok choy, cook that down with just a little bit of caraway and chili flake. And so I feel like it has kind of a German sort of direction spin to it.
Yeah, the bok choy is kind of like a braised cabbage almost, right?
Yep. Cool. We do like a mustard emulsion. We've also take all these crazy citrus fruit that we're getting in and we make sort of a citrus jam to go on top. And then we just we take brown butter breadcrumbs, we slice the swordfish, press that on one side, crisp it.
So what is good about swordfish as a protein that makes it appropriate for schnitzel?
I think it's kind of meaty enough to hold up against the crust that you put on it. I think cooking food a lot of times is about creating like nostalgic memories for people, and I think the way you do that best is by kind of having like a starting point or a focal point of what you're trying to do. And so I think with that dish, we are thinking about sort of German style cooking.
Okay, I don't have much exposure to schnitzels.
Well, it's a fried cutlet, right? You love katsu?
I love katsu.
Same thing.
Got it, okay. So just like pick it up and put it in my mouth. Easy.
Is that how you eat it?
Yeah.
All right, let's start with a piece of schnitzel each. Do you want a little bit of this on top?
I
of
do.
this? Yeah. Oh, that's tasty.
Oh, yeah.
This
Tender.
jam on top is incredible. Hot, crispy cutlet of any kind of meat is delicious. This is one of those foods that I can't believe we get to eat. Like, picture a swordfish deep in the ocean swimming around with a freaking knife on its head.
Can I pull up a photo of a swordfish, by the way?
Sure. You
Okay,
set
yeah.
up-
See, okay, this is okay. When we first were like, we're eating swordfish, I was like, we're eating shark? No, because I thought it was a shark.
This whole time I had a suspicion that you forgot what a swordfish was.
Well, no, it looks like a
This
shark.
is not a new fish for you, right?
I don't know, maybe.
Let's try some spätzle.
Yes. Oh, wait, that is so good.
Yeah, that is so good. Wow.
It's one of those things that like, going into it, I didn't know, I mean, I didn't really eat schnitzel.
Yeah.
And yet it's still so familiar to me.
Right.
And that's what's mind-blowing
Yeah.
for me.
Ready for the next dish?
Yeah.
All right, guys, here's your cioppino. So the cioppino is originally a San Francisco fish stew of Italian descent. What we do here is we take Low Country or North Carolina products and we incorporate it into that. We have speckled sea trout today. It's a type of fish that grows around the shallow waters in North Carolina. Usually it's shrimp and crab. Super tasty, it's flaky, white fish, mild tasting. And the super sourdough with rui.
A seaweed sourdough.
Yeah, so we take some seaweed, fold it into the bread, and it has these little pockets of green. And it brings a lot to the whole dish once like you eat it.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me like olive bread, but it has like a little more like oceany kind of flavor to it.
With rui being pepper and saffron mayo. Ooh. And we finish it with a little bit of a cuckoos squash slaw. So cuckoos squash is like a long zucchini-like looking squash.
Is the bread arranged to look kind of like a bird's wings?
Yes.
Really?
No. No, I wish we did.
Just my imagination taking hold.
Yeah.
This is what I'm the most excited about.
I have to try. This is one of the most interesting things I've heard of.
Seaweed.
Sourdough.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna have some bread with some broth.
That's my favorite part.
I could just have a mug of broth in the bread and be satisfied, but let's keep going. Ocean trout first. Chef was saying the speckled sea trout eats shrimp, so it tastes a little bit like shrimp.
You know, this guy knows what's up, man. Shrimp is delicious.
Oh, the trout knows what's up.
Yeah, trout knows what's up. Trust me, if I was trout, I'd be eating shrimp too. Oh.
It actually does. Unless it's because it was sitting next to a shrimp. But either way, that's really nice. There are two actual shrimp here we could compare.
Okay, we'll eat the thing that he eats now.
If anything, the trout tastes more like shrimp than the shrimp tastes like shrimp.
Is this like for one person, or is it to share?
I mean, it depends on how much other food you get, I suppose.
Honestly, like, I would not share this.
That's actually the highest compliment Steven can pay, is that he doesn't want to share it. Because it comes from a place of deep, deep truth. Should we let Adam have one of the last pieces? Are you willing to share that much?
No.
Man.
Talk about these at all?
Not really. And by not really, I mean we didn't talk about them.
Do you want to see a full-size one?
The squash. Would that be interesting?
Yeah.
Sure.
Do you have any of the squash uncut?
Oh man, people love to see the uncut version.
What the heck?
Oh!
Yeah. This looks like Gandalf's staff. Wow, it's actually surprisingly heavy. They grow 3 inches a day?
Jeez.
It's like a sea snake.
Oh my God. Look, this one wants to like grow on this one, right?
That's probably what happened.
Look, our squashes are holding hands. Well, this is not how I thought the taste test would end.
All right.
All right, Steven, you know what time it is.
Seafood fact time!
Seafood fact. The Atlantic blue crab's scientific name is Calanectus sapidus, which means beautiful, savory swimmer.
Oh, no way!
Probably named by some hungry scientist.
Yes. You know, they say like, you know, don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry.
Yeah.
Don't go naming animals when you're hungry. All right.
That'll be a lesson to you, scientists. All right, Steven. Speaking of those beautiful, savory swimmers, we're now on our way to Catch to see Chef Keith and try his jumbo lump crab cakes, which are made of blue crab meat.
Oh.
Catch is Afro-Asian inspired seafood restaurant. We use Southern ingredients with that, and we pride ourselves in using local, sustainable seafood and a lot of local agriculture as well. We have a really great shrimp ceviche, and so coconut milk, local Pamlico shrimp. We've got some pineapple in there, some onion, and a little bit of jalapeno. It's very flavorful, and it's something that really embodies what we're doing here. Outside of our local ideology, we want the best. And so the best is Maine lobsters. We also serve salmon here. We have salmon kind of tataki or teradito that we do here, sliced salmon, and then we do a hot ginger garlic oil across the top of that with some fried leeks on the top as well. Leeks, we use a lot in French Southern cooking.
So far in our trip, we've had oysters at every stop, so we're interested in trying some of yours.
Oysters are a really big thing here. These are oysters that we source here locally, and we'll shuck that oyster. We take a little bit of cooked collards, we take a little bit of pimento cheese, cheese and put that on the top. And then we have a bacon crunch. So Benton's bacon that's rendered down with a little bit of that panko, roast that off in the oven. You eat enough of them, you'll get a little bit dirty, but it is very Southern, and it's something that we call the Dirty South oyster.
All right, Stephen. We came here for the crab cakes, but then our conversation about every dish was so great, I thought we should have them all. So to begin, we have the ceviche, the Dirty South oysters, and the salmon crudo. There's a little lemon for you.
Thank you.
Oh, come on. Yeah, that's nice.
I do love how oysters also are a food where like there's evidence of who's eaten what. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I've had one.
Yeah.
I know I've had one. You've had one. Adam's had two. So that means we each get one more and he's done.
It's the easiest Sherlock Holmes case ever.
Okay.
How about a little shrimp ceviche?
Love that, okay.
My God, that's almost a dessert.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
This is my kind of dessert. Just give me some shrimp.
Oh, wow. Let's move on to the salmon
Yeah.
crudo. Wow.
Salmon needs to be recategorized into the butter category. That's the texture. There's so much fried leek on top, but it's still very light and fruity. The top is like the most delicate bloomin' onion
Yeah.
you've ever had. It looks like something that washed up in a beautiful bed of seaweed.
One of the weirdest things about eating that was like that the salmon is warmer than the fruit, which adds
Yeah.
so much to like the, I hate using that word, but that mouthfeel.
No, you're absolutely right. On to the main course.
So our crab cakes, I love our blue crab meat here. It's really sweet. We source our crab meat mainly, 99% from a place called Madam Mesquite, North Carolina. When you look at it, it's gonna have some variants. It's a wild type of crab meat. You'll see what local crab really looks like. There'll be some white, some opaque, some beige look in there. And there are some places that go and you'll have a jumbo lump crab cocktail, and it is as white as a t-shirt. And that's because of the processing of that particular crab meat that turns it white like that. You'll see our jumbo lump crab meat just has a variance of color. And I love it because of the sweet flavor of it. It is something that we're spending money in our community and supporting local people. Picking crab meat is something that's really rare. There are not many places that do that here in the United States. We cook within the seasons here, so the set on the plate will change a little bit. In the summertime, succotash, that's what we're doing right now. Corn, fresh local butter beans, grape tomatoes, maybe a little bit of basil and tarragon in there as well, some salt and pepper.
Yeah.
We're also gonna have a sauce where we take a lobster head and reduce that with a little bit of heavy cream. That is gonna be the sauce to go with our crab cakes and our succotash. The lobster comes in because we bring in lobsters from Maine. Even though it's a local place, we also have to adapt to our customer, and our customers want Maine. Because we don't waste anything, we'll take those heads from the lobsters when we cook them, and then we'll use that to make the sauce. So that's where that comes in. And it's more of a value component as well.
Next, I wanted to ask about how the crab cake is priced.
That crab meat is a local, highly perishable type of crab meat. And there's just a cost associated with that. Making the trip through COVID where we've had production issues and availability issues, that was something that we had to combat here because the price of crab went really, really skyrocketed. At the highest point, our crab cakes were $50 to $60 for an entree of crab cakes. We took it off the menu because there's no substitution for North Carolina crab meat, but the customers like bring it back, whatever it costs, we want it. And right now we've got it down to about 40 something, but I think that with our lens and what we do, it's worth it.
All right, Stephen, the crab cakes.
One for each of us.
Perfect. 2 crab cakes, 48 clams.
USD.
Yeah, clam as in USD.
Got it, okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. Oh, we have a sauce.
A
Would you like some?
crab cake with lobster reduction. I couldn't tell if I heard that right at first. There's a lot of beauty in the simplicity of this dish, but even more so, something that like I've come to appreciate being here in North Carolina is the love and respect people have for their seafood culture.
Right, yeah.
The preservation of it, the sustainability of it, the locality of it, making sure that they really love and celebrate it is something that like didn't get. I grew up in Ohio, mostly landlocked.
And it's not just about getting that product. It's about the system and network and the practice of how everything works together and who is getting it and bringing it to you. And also, being a consumer is part of that practice. It's like the crab meat has to go somewhere.
That's right.
And we're here to eat it.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
And by eating it, we necessitate the rest of that system.
I do practice the art of consuming quite often. I am working so hard right now to not finish this dish.
You gotta savor it.
Oh, that's good.
Cheers, Steven.
Cheers to a seafood adventure.
Nearly complete. We're here at Carolina Beach Pier, enjoying a couple of cocktails. I've got myself a painkiller.
I got myself a mocktail, Bahama Mama.
We're at the end of our seafood journey. Steven, it's time to pick our Worth It winners.
You know I hate this part, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
it's the worst part of the show because they're all winners.
Yeah.
Always.
We had the smothered oysters at Saltbox Seafood,
My gosh.
followed by the hard fried croaker. Also, Holdfast Oyster Company taking us out on their vessel.
That was crazy too.
Seabird's oysters at Seabird.
The swordfish schnitzel.
The Eastern Chiapino. And of course, catch with the ceviche, the salmon, dirty South oysters.
Crab cakes.
This show is really dumb because we try really hard to pick very good restaurants at each tier.
Yeah.
So all of the food is incredible. And I know I've said this many times before, but this is truly one of the hardest Worth It winner decisions of our entire journey.
Okay, Andrew, my Worth It winner could go to all of them, but today it goes to Catch. Their whole menu was astounding, but those jumbo lump crab cakes were one of the greatest things I've eaten in a long time. They made me stop eating. Think about that. It's counterintuitive.
Yeah, that's hard for you.
It's very hard because I'm a machine. Your turn. Good luck.
Schnitzel is one of my favorite categories of food. And a swordfish schnitzel is one of those things where I saw it on the menu and I was like, this must be in our episode. I have to have that. And it was truly tremendous, like all the places we visited today. But my Worth It winner is gonna be Saltbox Seafood Shack. The smothered oysters were a revelation for me. And then everything else they served, the fried croaker, those hush honeys that we didn't even eat on camera with the sort of anise licorice flavor on them.
That's right.
That was something like I've never had before.
Look at you with the character development.
What
Cut
am I saying?
to like Seafood Australia and you're like, ew, oyster.
That's true,
And
yeah.
now you're like, give me that smothered oyster.
Before we made this show, I didn't really care for oysters, but those smothered oysters, wow. All right, Adam, who is your Worth It winner?
Saltbox.
We'll be back next year with a few more episodes, but in the meantime, thanks for watching.
That's right.